Where did you get this love of reading? Where did you inherit it from?
I think Mom used to read to us all the time from the Bible, and I remember loving, fairy tales because my mind was such a fantasy, and I loved all that. So I learned to read really early on, and I just read everything I can get my hands on.
Do you remember what book you loved as an adult the most? Like when you were just like, wow, this book speaks to me.
Song of Solomon, Toni Morrison. Every time I pick it up, I'm pulled into that story and her writing and the way she shapes those characters and the journey that they're on pulls me in every time.
I love a good story. I love to be moved. I love beautiful description. I like to think.
I read that when you were growing up in Rhode Island, that books were a refuge for you.
It was an escape into my imagination where I could be anyone I wanted to be and I could go anywhere I wanted to go. So I went to the library.
Was there a favorite when you were little?
That's so hard.
I know, it's the worst question. It's like if you could choose a child.
I really like this book called The End of the Affair by Graham Greene. When I read it in high school and I just loved it. I also love Donna Tartt.
Me too.
I'm so excited about
The History.
Oh, The Secret History is so good.
It was so good. And what about now? What do you like? What do you read?
There's a book, Kristen Hanna wrote a book called The Nightingale that I think is
I love The Nightingale.
It's one of my favorite books ever.
It's so good.
I cried like a baby for
You
about
cried?
2 hours at the end of it. Yeah, I did.
It was sad.
Yeah, and then all of my kids have read it. My wife, everybody loves that book. So, yeah,
Did you recommend it, or did Faith and recommend it to you?
I did. I read it and recommended it, and they all read it and they all love it. So
Don't you
I got
like being
points
the
for
first?
that. Yes,
yeah,
absolutely.
Being
yeah.
the first.
Yeah.
Do you remember the first book that really resonated with you? Something you fell in love with?
As a young person, The Mixed Up Files of Miss Baisley, Frank Wilder, because I think it's such a sort of escapist, like imagining running away and living in the Metropolitan Museum of Art,
I just love the way they feel. I love the way they smell. I love looking at your library and having it be a reflection of who you are.
Okay, really quickly, hardcover or on a tablet?
Oh, hardcover.
Where's your favorite place to read?
There's a sort of couch in my kitchen.
Is there one book that changed your life?
East of Eden.
E-book or hard copy?
Always prefer a hard copy or paperback.
Yeah.
Just like,
To
the smell of a book,
Doesn't it
and
smell
the
good?
older the better, a possession that I think it's perfectly fine to covet.
You were stranded on a desert island, which this question never really is very hypothetical because when is that going to happen? What book would you take with you?
I better take the Bible, because if I'm stranded on an island, I figure I may not get off of there, and I might want to do some cramming.
That's a good choice. Okay. I think I'll follow you in that.
But I think about how, for young people in high school who are overwhelmed with school and books become homework as opposed to joyful escapes.
Yeah.
And then you get a little older and you realize there's nothing better than having the time to read. And now it's my favorite part of life.
How important is it that kids or teens can see themselves, can see their culture, can see somebody that looks like them in the books that they read?
It's like Albert Einstein said, imagination is more important than knowledge. Because I think that sometimes a culture can limit you in your identity as a woman of color. And it's only in books and it's only in stimulating your imagination that sometimes you can see your possibilities.
You probably don't remember, but you sent me a copy of Peter and the Wolf when Mila was born, when my daughter was born. And
I absolutely do remember. My kids did the illustration with me. But did you use it, Jen?
I read it. And you know what it said? The inscription, one of the greatest, said, "Welcome to the world. There's a lot of work for you to do, but not just yet."
Oh my gosh.
I cried. Thank you.
Yeah.